Hey there, Rick. What's happening?
Yo, what's up, buddy?
Well, there's a
Mm,
lot up, and I'm going to try to hit it pretty quickly so we can get started. I know you're a busy man. You're going to be leaving for Florida, where we're going to have our conference coming up, which I'm excited about. Uh,
yes, sir.
not just for the conference, but hanging out with you and Courtney just a little bit. That's going to be awesome.
hmm
And so I want to lay a little context for this talk, and I'm going to introduce Rick in just a minute. You're going to find out more about him. But I want to lay a little context. It's going to sound like I'm talking about myself, but there's no way for me to give any kind of reference of what I know to be true without telling you a little bit about who I am and what I've done in the past. And so I just want to go through this, and I hope you'll indulge me for a minute to kind of talk to you. So over the last 10 to 15 years, I've been involved deeply in marketing. For years, I've been a Tony Robbins fan, and it just so happens that in the last 15 years or so, I began to run in the circle of Tony Robbins and his friends, Brendan Bouchard, Grant Cardone, the Gary Vaynerchuks, and all those people. And so I've even spoken on stage alongside Brian Tracy, Joseph McClintock, who is he speaks at Tony Robbins events when Tony's voice goes out, and spoken on the same stage with them, and have become friends with some of these guys. And so I tell you that because I need people watching to know that I know what motivational speakers sound like. I know some of them personally. I know some of the people that work for them and have actually created the products for them. And so just laying that context out, I have some knowledge of where these people are, who they are in their private life, and who they are on stage, which sometimes is different, just so you know. And then I run a mastermind group for the last 7 years. I run a mastermind group for entrepreneurs over the years. It's a international group of people. My friend Everett O'Keefe and I, we run this group. We teach entrepreneurs and business owners how to market themselves, how to get on stage, how to get on television, how to be authentic, and teach them leadership skills. And I've done that for several years. I've done the same thing in law enforcement. I've taught supervisors and canine supervisors, lieutenants, and captains how to be leaders to their men. I wrote a book called Falco Walking with God and the Dog. There it is right there. And I want to just read something. Again, this is all in lane context. This will all make sense in a minute because we had a powerful night with Rick last night. Those of you that are on, it was nothing short of awesome. And we're going to get into some things about yesterday. But let me just read from this chapter. This is from my chapter called Leader of the Pack. In this book, I write, many people struggle to be outstanding leaders and examples. More than any other time in history, this can be said about husbands and fathers, where we struggle to be leaders. Many will say it is an epidemic at this point. The concept of leadership smacked me in the face one day in the form of a photo posted on Facebook. A picture was tagged of me holding a bottle of beer in one hand and a plastic cup of beer in the other hand. My belly protruded and I wore a stupid grin. The first thing I thought when I saw it, it was, that's how my kids and wife see me. My daughters will look for a man in that image of their father. Is that who I want them to find? My sons look to me as a role model. Is that how I want them to act? There's great value and payoff in leading by example, the right way. I'm going to skip to another paragraph here. I go on to talk about it's not always easy being a good leader and a good example, especially when we fear offending people or not being liked. Yet it's our responsibility. I'm going to say it again, kind of like they did on the Senate yesterday. I'm going to say this again. It is our responsibility to maintain our position as alpha dog in our personal wolf packs. Without the alpha playing its part, all the other positions, the betas, the subordinates, the omegas, the lines will become blurred and chaos ensues. And so I wanted to tell you that because at Overcome Nation, we have a founder. His name is Rick Gutman. He's the guy on the other side of the screen there. And I think more than ever, Rick, and I have something else I'm going to share in just 1 minute, but I think overall, in the last several trainings, and I think we've known each other for a little over a year now. I forget how long we've known each other. Yeah. Your position as a role model has always been there, but I think the position as a leader has become more clear to not only me, but the rest of the pack. Is that true, do you think? Is there something lately in your training or something happened in your life? Is there something that created this responsibility I think you have now of leading by example?
Yeah, it's called love. Huh.
Hmm.
I've been in the industry and I've been involved in ministry in the past. And it's interesting because if I look back 9 years on the mission field, um, risking my life for for the sake of the gospel, I feel like the majority of the push that was on the inside of me was that I just wanted to fight the devil.
Hmm.
I wasn't necessarily driven by love. That's a hard thing for me to come to terms with. I loved God, I wanted to do his will. The love for people is something that is something that has to be evaluated. And in the network marketing space, I've been in it for 16 years now, but there's been a very interesting transition in the last 3 years. And somehow I began to really fall in love with people. And the shift that you may have sensed is really that. Like, I genuinely and sincerely love people, and it's taken me from seeing that uh, leaders are also shepherds. And a decade ago, I would have probably used the term shepherd um, because of what it means and all of that. But for it to illuminate on the inside of me, it probably hasn't truly happened um, until probably the last maybe year and a half, to where I'm not distracted by the other things. I'm not distracted by the way I may look on social media, or the car I drive, or the home I live in. Um, I'm very confident in who I am, and I just don't feel like, I have no more outward motivation for
Right.
the way people see me. It's just, I sincerely, my heart's really into helping people and impacting their lives. I can't say that I really felt that, even 5 years ago.
Right. And I hope you don't mind me sharing. I'm going to share a video. I was going to share something from yesterday, but we'll talk about why I'm not doing that now. But let me share this training. I hope you don't mind. It's from a
Sure.
previous training, and it's going to give you an example to those people that don't know you, what I mean about who you are in the way that it is you teach. Because I think this is powerful, but this isn't just one moment that I captured. This is one of several moments of every broadcast that where you teach us on a weekly basis. So let me go ahead and play this video. It's only a couple minutes long. Oops, I went to the wrong one. Hold on. I've only done this, 100 times. All right, here we go.
Overcome Nations has been around for 3 years. We have the fruit of success and credibility. We have the fruit. You judge a tree by what? By its fruit. And I'm telling you, by the end of 2020, we are going to leave the herd behind based on what we do in our understanding in the first quarter here, because the other organizations are not ready for this. They want you to think that it's easy. Okay? This is how you develop as a general and a confidant. This is how your habits begin to switch gears, that when you see problems, you attack them with solutions. This is the year where your metal on the inside of you is set and recalibrated and tested. And this is the year where you become business principled. You become business principled driven. If you don't do that, your story you won't be able to leave the herd the way you want to. This is the year where you become a very strong, effective business owner. Okay. Now, I want to point out some things here, and especially amongst you leaders. The leaders that are out there, you've never had this kind of success before. You've never had this kind of financial freedom before. And you're starting to enjoy the comfort and you love the taste of it. But I want you to understand something. You've been spending too much time not working. You've been spending too much time on vacation. You've been spending too much time traveling to all these places and trying to make it look like the network marketing space looks like being a rock star. So I wanted to define two different careers here. Okay. Rock stars are known for being reckless. They're known for being irresponsible. And they're known for doing all of the things and traveling in the private jets and doing all that. But rock stars usually end up very broke by the end of their life. Business owners do exactly what I've described so far in this training. They take themselves serious. They solve problems. They become principle driven. They become more effective. They broaden their network. They have a strong work ethic. They have an understanding of the war and the marketplace, and they're continually honing their craft. They're developing healthier and healthier habits so they can take on new and greater territory. They've been preparing themselves and preparing themselves and preparing themselves. We are in a business. And don't you dare let the network marketing space make it look like we're rock stars that don't have to work. You want to make $1 million a year? It's available. You want to make $1 million a month? It's available. You want to make $1 million a week? It's available. Overcome Nation is gonna make the network marketing industry pay more than it has ever paid ever, because we're gonna have higher retention than everybody else. We're gonna be more principled in business than everybody else, right? We're gonna produce the highest checks that have ever been seen in this industry over time, because we're going to run it like generals. We're going to run it like confidants. We're going to run our businesses like big business ownership. We're going to change the gearing ratio, and we're going to make this industry pay, because our retention will be higher than everyone else's. These individuals that are making $1 million a week in the network marketing space at 1% to 2% retention. What if you had 20% retention, because you have a business school and you don't have anybody lying to you? You have people teaching you the real terrain and what it looks like to take yourself serious. Because why? Because you've had the conversations with the Uncle Joes and the Jakes and the Aunt Stellas and all of that have owned their businesses traditionally for 40 and 50 years. And they have the scars and they have the experience to prove it.
All right. So I wanted to share that, and I hope you don't mind. You can tell me later if you mind. But you're being brutally honest to, especially the team members that are having success, that we can get lazy, right? You can get lazy when it comes to success. You can get lazy with God in the Bible when things are good, and you're not continuing to work. You lay back. And the people that are relying on you, the responsibility you have to those people as your team, you're not owning up to your responsibility. Is that the message you have? And maybe even give me your thoughts on that particular snippet that I played.
Yeah, one of the areas that I begin to shift gears is the realization that amateurs don't make money, professionals do. And I wanted to begin to talk to everybody on my team like I would talk to professionals, or like high powered, professional baseball players training like a professional football player. I want to go to the next level in coaching with people, because I think my team is ready for it, and they're ready for more rigid conversation, so they can see that this is a very credible, very respectable, very lucrative business for the person that will put in the time and learn the skill, right? You have skill and you have will. And sometimes when you strengthen your skill and you start making money, you start losing your will, right? Yep. And I've often found that it's sometimes easier to get to the top of the mountain, but most of the time really difficult to stay on top of the mountain, because we become comfortable and complacent. And the type of leadership I think is important in this space is the type of leadership that can stay in it for 30 and 40 years and never have to do anything else, because they've built a legacy in their organization. They've built leadership that continues to produce leadership. In other words, fruit that's bearing fruit that's bearing fruit. And there's only one there's only one type of leader that can produce something like that, and that is one that has both skill and will and has vision, you know. So being tough, my best teachers were really tough on me. My best coaches were very tough on me. I appreciate being around people that are more rigid in the way in their thoughts. Also, I've learned to be I enjoy being around people that will just say it like it is instead of, you know, the politicians. As an older person now, I want to leave. I want to leave the politicians behind, and I want to be around real friendships and real leadership.
Right. Yeah. You just made me think about something else, and I'm trying not to talk about it. I'm fighting the urge. But going back to my message, I also want to visit an area and where my title came from, taking out the slack. Some people don't know what that is. But I'm going to use my example, and then you can choose to talk about whatever you want to talk about. But taking the slack is something we talk about when you're a police officer or you're a hunter in an automatic weapon. And even in a revolver, if I remember correctly, because I did carry a revolver for a short period of time, is that there's a part of the trigger when you're pulling it back that's really easy to pull back. That's called the slack. And so when you are firing at somebody or something, a target, you don't want to come back to where you're back into the slack. You want to keep that. You want to keep the tension on so that you can now pull the trigger for the next round. The reason I write that is because there was a time in my life in my early 20s where, and again, I talk about being a leader. I think I've been put in that responsibility as a police officer, as a supervisor and trainer of people over the years. But it's not, doesn't mean that you don't have times of weakness that are important to kind of embrace and use as part of your story. So as a young 20-year-old dude, I was a police officer. I had a gun. There were some struggles in my life. I could not seem to get my act together. And there was a weak moment where I thought, you know, it's just better to end it now and I won't hurt anybody else and that kind of stuff. So I put one of my service revolvers in my mouth and I took out the slack all the way to the point where the next step was that was it. Right. So it wasn't that I was threatening, because I was by myself in a very dark bedroom with the blinds closed, and I took out the slack, and I was very close to ending it all. I'm happy I didn't, and I hope other people are. But you know, I have a number of kids. I have 5 kids, and that was a very difficult time in my life. Now, I didn't share that for many years. I have shared it in other avenues, and I've even shared it on stage and to as many as 800 people in Caesar's Palace. But that moment in time when I shared that story, it was an important step, I think, in leadership, where I was able to take something that was horrible, that was something that changed the trajectory of the rest of my life. That now, back to that word responsibility, it became a responsibility of mine to share that story, that I would be selfish if I did not take even other moments in my life where I failed or had difficulty. And it would be a selfish thing not to write them in a book, not to speak about them on stage, not to share them with people that were asking for my help moving forward in becoming a leader in whatever it is, whatever it was, whether I was being a police officer, a canine trainer, or an entrepreneur training other entrepreneurs at a mastermind retreat. And Rick's fixing his camera right now, and I'm just going to continue talking. I'm going to try to bring this around, and the moment he's back on, I'm definitely going to bring it to him. But that's where this thing kind of comes, and this is where this came around to his training yesterday. I believe Rick will share. I feel confident, because this is our 3rd interview together, is that he will share that there comes a time that he's realized that his story also needs to include his failures. I know that Rick has been very successful in real estate. I know that he's been successful in gems. I know that he's been successful in the network marketing space before. I think he's been in the business for something like 15 years. And it's not all been great, right? It's not ever going to be always great. Running a business for me was not always great. So I ran a business that was successful with the dog training business, and things were going really well. And I got complacent. I began to lay back. I began to think that, well, if I can do this, I must be able to do other things successfully and never will feel pain again. And I made the mistake of starting a second business, a security company, went from 5 employees to 500 employees, and then nearly lost everything. I nearly lost the house. I'm divorced, I think, today, because that's one of the things that causes the stress on the marriage that I was never, ever able to recover. But I did. I went and learned about marketing. That's when I began to meet all the people I mentioned earlier on this broadcast, and things began to change. But that doesn't, again, mean that now that things have changed, that there's always positive things. There's going to be negatives, but I'm much better at dealing with those negatives now. I'm much better at teaching people and being a leader because of where I've been, so that I know where people are coming from, that this network marketing business is not easy, as Rick talked about in his in the video, that you talk to other people that have had successes and failures, you learn from them, you begin to experience things yourself, tweak things when they don't work, and you change and you adapt and you overcome, and you can now share those things with the people that come up on with you. So I'm going to be totally transparent that not only was my purpose for bringing Rick on just to share these stories with you and share his story. It's for those of you that are still like wondering, what are you doing, Andy? Why are you in network marketing? You don't seem like the kind of person that would be in network marketing. And I'm not sure why you're doing that. Well, I wanted to share a little bit of what Rick taught the other day. I wanted to share some of the things that he shares with us, and to and bring those to your attention, so that once you decide that you're going to join me, that you know that this is what's going to happen. This is who you're going to experience. The Leadership of Overcome Nation, our free business school that comes with joining me at Viseo and becoming a part of Overcome Nation. I'm looking to see if Rick has messaged me as to whether he can't get back on or not. I think he knows to refresh. He's obviously done enough of these things lately, so I think that's probably what he's trying to do. Maybe his phone ran out of power. That could be something that happens from time to time. I'm not saying that's what it is, but you never know. Maybe a hurricane hit or something. I'm not sure. But let me do this. Let me go ahead and finish a little bit more of this story. Stick with us. I know that we have a lot of people on. As soon as Rick dropped off, I'm sure we lost a couple people. But let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to share a little bit more of this. I cut it off a little bit early because I wanted to make the point that Rick calls out everybody, right? It's I think an important thing that that he call out. You're going to see it come up here. 1 second. Here it comes. Oh, Rick just messaged me. Let me see what it has to say here. I'm here. Oh, I don't see you, Rick. For some reason, it's not showing you on my end. You know what, guys? No, I don't want to refresh because I don't want to lose it. Hold on. Let me go ahead and refresh mine, and we will see. We'll see if we come back. So hold on right now. I'm going to refresh. All right. So I'm back. I'm hoping that my sound is back on too. I didn't check the mic and everything beforehand. I'm going to tell him to try one more time. Because apparently he can see himself, but I can't see him on my end, so I can't bring him up for some reason. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and share the rest of that video. There's another important part coming up because you'll see his passion come through. So let me go ahead and share that right now. Well, how about now? Hold on. Oh, man.
Because you're having the conversation with what real business looks like instead of this fantasy land that you keep seeing network marketing leaders just taking pictures of their laptop by the pool and showing snapshots of their toes and saying, "This is my office today." Stop doing that. Stop doing that. You're coloring this industry in a way that looks like you don't have to work. Does it have its freedoms? Absolutely. Is it extremely lucrative? Absolutely. Is it 100% passive income? Absolutely. Can you work wherever you're at? Absolutely. But stop making it sound and look like you're on a beach every single day doing nothing, because your team looks at it and they want to do the same thing you're doing, and it doesn't look like work. When you have 3, 4, 5, 6 diamonds deep in each leg, then you can start making it sound like you don't have to do anything. But until you get there, you're showing the wrong message to your team. You're showing the wrong message to your group.
There we go. You're back.
All right. Sorry, I said I was backstage the whole time. I was watching though. Very good.
All right, so let's share that. Let's share what happened last night. And I'm going to go ahead. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to say you decided to take it down. You thought it might be too powerful, I think. Let's talk about that a little bit. First, talk about the message from your point of view, and then why you decided to bring it on down. Yep, there's the delay. Did you hear my question, Rick?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to play something. Okay.
Oh, no.
Yes. Well, I felt like in what I was talking about in the area of, I drifted off into a bunny trail of depression and a point in time when I had a gun in my mouth. And sometimes I get a feeling that I need to go with it. And I did. And because sometimes there's somebody in the crowd that is, going through some struggles. And I wanted to give everyone a glimpse of, man, had I pulled the trigger many years ago, it would have it cut me off from, hundreds of thousands of lives that I've been able to impact with discovering my purpose and pouring into people. And I realized that there was a reason for why I needed to overcome those obstacles that held me back, because there were going to be people in my future that were going to have need of that experience, so I could pour into them and find common ground with them and help them to walk out of the hell in their life. Back then I couldn't see around the corner. Back then I couldn't see freedom. Back then I couldn't see the vision and the destiny that lie ahead of me, because all I could see was the black curtain of despair. I didn't see the hundreds of thousands of lives that I was going to impact. I didn't see the firepower that would one day be, ignite my life. I didn't see the strength that I would develop as a result of overcoming those obstacles and those things that wanted to take me out. I couldn't see all of that. I'm so thankful being on this side of it, because now I can go look back and say, it was all worth it. And if I was ever to have a conversation with God and he said, if we did a rewind and I was going to tell you ahead of time that you were going to go through many struggles along the way, and there's going to be a time where you're going to contemplate punching your own ticket. If I told you it was going to be that way, would you still do it? Would you do it again? And I swear that it would be, fear would grip my heart because I knew what I was going, what I went through, but I would 100% say yes, because now it is, it has equipped me with wisdom, a wisdom I didn't have, a wisdom I had need of. I'll just take it one step further. If I was to delete any of those portions out of my database, which is my history, then I wouldn't carry what I carry today. Because when you delete that, you also delete the rewards. You know, they come they're one. The 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 trials and the rewards are one and the same. They're not different.
Right.
If you remove one, you have to remove the other. And that's so, when somebody really gets that, they begin to understand the process, that the greater the turbulence and the trials, the greater the champion that's being developed on the inside of you. And that's what people need to hear.
So what brought you to take down the video of the training from last night? If you don't mind me asking.
No, it's a great question. When I was finished with it, you know, normally I don't feel like this, but I thought maybe I took people down a path that was a little bit too dark for them, you know, and it's, you know, it's not a new story for me. I've shared it, you know, several times. I even have it on my personal page at a different time when I was sitting in my car talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt, you know, for the sake of maybe 3 people, I'm just throwing a number out there, maybe 3 people that may be in that situation right now, it was good for them to hear it because they were on there. But maybe the other, you know, 97% aren't having any issues and they're feeling great. And sometimes when you're in a great place in your life and you're super optimistic about what's going on, and then you hear a story like that, it could be too tragic for them. So I just thought, I'm going to hit the delete button and the reset button. And I'm not, and it was, and like I said, you know, when we talked earlier, you know, it wasn't an easy decision. I don't normally delete my videos. I don't know that I really ever have in the past, but that was actually the first one.
All right. Well, you're not wrong very often, but I think you're wrong.
I'll accept that.
And I want to follow up to kind of soften that blow. Not that I would ever take a swing at you, of course. And that is now to go back to my opening statement about the people that I've been around and places I've been and people that I've talked to. Number one, you are the real deal. I've talked about that. I've met some of these people, and you know, I'm not saying they're horrible people, but they're not necessarily everything you see on stage or on the videos. Gary Vaynerchuk, I think he's the same all the time. I think that's just you know, that's what I like about him, right? He cusses like a sailor and does all kinds of stuff. But you. And I'm sharing this with you know this, but I want you to know that I know this about you too, and the people that don't know you, is you are the real deal. I've spent time with you, not as much as some people, but I've had dinner with you. We've had talks on the phone. We've shared a couple moments, you know, between events, you know, sitting there having a beer or a drink together, and being a police officer for 21 years and investigating people and knowing, getting a feeling for people, knowing through their body language and their eyes and the way that they breathe and touch their face. I have never got the sense that you are not authentic and honest and truthful and fantastic to be around. So I appreciate that. Number two, I don't know if you ever want this for yourself, but it would be a shame if you weren't, you know, recognized at the level of those people that I named. That there's other people that need to hear your message, just not us in a private group or us on a stage at an event. I think at some point, you have to share your message with more people because more people need to hear what you have to say. Again, last night for me was super powerful. And again, I watch your videos as often as I can. Sometimes I'm driving, and if I'm not, I'm taking notes. You can listen to Zig Ziglar or, you know, the other people and Tony Robbins even, and you hear a very similar message all the time, right? They have their things that they say all the time, and it's repetitive. In the 500 videos, although some of the words you do like to, you know, make sure are a part of every one of your message because you want it to get into people's psyche, there's always something new. And I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you find something new to talk about with all the hours of video that you put together. All the times I've seen you on stage, there's a moment where I go, Man, I got to write that down. I almost said another word. I got to write that down, and I'm going to steal that for my next video. So if you ever watch one of my videos, just say, hey, you're using my stuff. But I think that's what you want us to do, right? And I love using your stuff. So you, for me, based on all the people that I've experienced, I've seen these people more than once. And again, I've met with them backstage as he was the one who was getting off stage, getting on stage. They have nothing on you. And I think this is your time to share your message with the world. I don't know how you're going to do that, but it's.
Thank you so much for that. I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for you being in law enforcement, and when I get around you, it reminds me of the days that I was around my dad. Being LA County Sheriff, and my brother retired Downey PD, and that's not something that I take lightly. It takes me back. When I had conversations with you and just what you carry and your background and things you've been through, and respect you as a father, and it reminds me of the conversations that I would have with my dad. And so when you say what you said, it means the world to me. I don't take that lightly, because it's definitely a desire of my heart. But I know that you've been exposed to some really great inspirational people, and so there's a great respect that I have for that. So thank you. It means the world to me. I want to stay within the boundaries of like time strength, and that is exactly where I like to go. I believe that's where God's taking me. I'm just relying on Him to broaden the borders of my reach, and right, and so I don't want to be too ambitious about that. At the same time, I don't want to be too slack. I think I'm probably more on the slack side. I could probably speed it up a little bit, but it's recognitions and compliments like that give me that extra charge to go, you know what, maybe Andrew's right. Maybe I should start stepping out. Courtney tells me that all the time. So yeah, I think I need to listen to both of you.
Yeah, of course we're right. All right. So just to finish this off and wipe the little emotion off my face. I don't know what the heck's going on. I talk about this all the time. My kids have killed me in the emotional area. I used to be very strong, but now I'm weak. The event coming up in Florida, we have a few really fantastic things coming up. We're coming into skincare, which you saw at the opening. That's going to be launching and shipping. We have a new I don't know what you call it, a new way of paying our brand partners with customers. Is that true?
Yep.
I don't know the details about it. Is there anything you can speak of that you should say, hey, if you haven't decided to come yet, you need to come? Is there anything on your mind that you may want to share before we call it quits?
Sure. Well, there's not much that I can say, so I'll come as close to it as I can as possible.
Okay.
We have a great customer acquisition program that's coming down the pike. It's going to be announced. We have some other changes that are going to be amazing that I'm super excited about. I just can't say what they are. But I will say that if you plan on being a leader in Viseo, leaders don't miss conventions like this, especially when the stakes are so high. I was on an earlier conversation online today, and the person that I was talking to said that skincare is a $120 billion a year industry, $120 billion a year industry. And so those are the stakes that are so high. And now we get to step into that category with a liposome technology, anti-aging skincare, the best in the world. And have the exclusive with Warren Buffett's company producing it, and that's a disruptive product. And right. So, if a person wants to become the very best and offer that in their business, Why wouldn't they want to come to convention and learn all the details of all of the ingredients and what it's about and how to roll out that program and how to build a global distribution business, how to build a debt-free business, all the teaching and the training involved, so you have a winning edge going into this year, especially in the first quarter. You want to be
Right.
as equipped as possible, because you can step into an industry, but you have to understand that you're doing war in the marketplace. And when you're doing war in the marketplace, the prize goes to those that are equipped for battle, that have the tools and the weaponry, right, and so to speak, in terms of their education and their understanding of how to roll it out, how to penetrate the marketplace, and how to do it effectively, how to communicate this particular product, and how to communicate the brand and the industry so you can be effective. Many people want to say, this time next year I'm going to make $1 million, but if your intensity and your work ethic does not match your desire, then it's a fantasy. It's not reality.
Mm.
And the one thing I'll say about, the Gary Vaynerchuks of the world and the Grant Cardones and all these other, the Tony Robbins, is one of their biggest arguments that they have. I can see in their frustration. It comes out in almost everything that they teach about, Eric Thomas included, is that people don't have time strength, and they'll spend more time on Facebook doing nothing for hours and hours and hours, instead of um, understanding how to be productive with each and every moment that they're on there. In other words, we spend more time surfing Facebook and the social platforms, rather than getting out there and educating and teaching and getting your name out there and casting your net.
Mhm.
So they get caught up in all the activities of the day that are not productive. And therefore, we always say that, they want something that they haven't paid a price for. Business people and successful people in all walks and all careers, all walks of life and all careers, goes to the 2% and low and higher, 2%, 1%, 0.1%. Why? Because they're putting in the work. Kevin
Mm.
Hart says it took me 20 years to become an overnight success.
Right.
And I find that to be true. And so we're fortunate in this industry, because you can have success at a very early time. You can get your business to cash flow the very first week you even start in this business, and you can continue to learn your skill along the way, and continue to have it cash flow debt free and have it go global. That is a tremendous, those are the stakes that are so high there. That's what's up for grabs for everyone. And I love
Right.
how the scripture says to study to show yourself approved. And so you have to put in the time. You have to study to show yourself approved. And how are you approved? The marketplace will approve you. It's not necessarily a favor all the time, even though relationships are very important. But in our industry, when we're growing a network, people are coming to a place in the network marketing space that have been watching for a long time. They want to do business with people that have credibility. They want to do business with people that are professionals. They want to do business with people that they feel safe with, that carry a strength and have vision, and can show them when they're in that storm of life, how to walk through it and be able to have the victory at the end. They're tired of watching the spammy get in now and just get excited and share it with everyone. They want somebody. Why won't somebody just teach me the real deal? I want to be able to have fruit that remains in this life, whether it's
Right.
businesses, relationships, um, memories, fruit that remains, fruit that will last. And only professionals are going to have the victory. So professionals don't miss conventions. This is going to be an amazing convention, because they're going to have 6 hours is just going to be product information and corporate information. 6 hours of that. And then there'll be another 4 hours of leadership training and all that, but 6 hours on product and corporate and things that we need to know, so we can win throughout the year. Who would want to miss that if they were a professional?
Right. I am ready. I am ready, because it is just not rah stuff. And I mean, especially the Overcome Nation events. We didn't even really, we kind of talked about it slightly, but we have the convention for Viseo, and then we have our own conventions. We being Overcome Nation. I'm making myself part of the crew. But it is content, right? It isn't just like here's all the people that run awards. Here are the 2% that win the awards all the time and get the free cars, right? That's not what we do. We learn and new things come out, and that's what I like about the Viseo team, the founders, Dallin and Carrie and Dan and the Dans, is that they're always improving the business, and they're not trying to do a whole bunch of other stuff, but they're always improving on the business to help us be more successful, and that's what I love. So thank you for that, and I'm again so looking forward to seeing you in a couple days. It's going to be awesome.
Me too.
All right. So I hope this all worked out for y'all. I know we had a glitch there, but that's the way things work. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, please, let me know if you're watching the replay, and if you have any questions, or if anything you want to know that we have going on in Florida, or have any questions. I'm going to be doing a couple live broadcasts from Florida. So go ahead and write in the comments something you want to know. If you want to know more about the business, just go ahead and send me a private message, and we can get you started and get you into the business school with Rick and get some of this awesome teaching. It would cost you tens of thousands of dollars to get the teaching that we're getting in Overcome Nation. I'm not even kidding you. Again, I know these things, and I just know that it's powerful, expensive stuff that we're getting for free by being part of this Overcome Nation. So once again, Rick, I appreciate it. I know that I hit you right after you ended yesterday. I said, I need to talk to you and I need to do it in front of people. So thank you so much. I know how busy you are, and I really appreciate it very much. So thanks again.
It's a real honor, brother.
And thanks for all of you for watching. We'll see you in Florida. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.